What is the number one reason for divorce? So many people ask this question. It is something that is always on the news, has been researched quite a bit in the last 10 to 15 years. And from my experience, it is not what somebody would automatically think the reason is. It is not infidelity. It is not financial difficulty between the spouses or in their household. And it is definitely not the effects of COVID. Those are all byproducts of the real reason why people separate and why they grow apart and why they eventually end up in divorcing. And that is lack of communication. My name is Zainal Sayed and I am the owner of Trusted Divorce Services. I help people through mediation and open communication figure out how they're going to divorce amicably, constructively, and in the best and most humane way possible. I was having this conversation with a friend the other day, and she has been divorced, I believe, for about 12, 13 years. And she says to me, you know, if I had had the wisdom that I have right now back when I was calling for divorce, if I had known that the way that my husband was acting is just the way that he is, she explained to me she was taking offense to the fact that, you know, she would be telling him about things that happened with her at work, maybe going into too much detail, and as many husbands are, he was not interested. So she took that as that he does not love her, he's not interested, he has other things on his mind. Now looking back, she realizes that he was a good person. They did have a more or less successful, workable marriage, but the little things that now seem little, back then, you know, seemed a lot bigger, were not really that big. And maybe if they had better communication, maybe if one day she had opened up to him and said, look, when I say these things to you, you seem uninterested, I feel less loved. If they had any kind of conversation like this, maybe they would not have been divorced now. So that really struck me, because I thought, oh my God, how many people divorce for, you know, reasons of lack of communication, or something that could be perhaps fixable at the time, but they just leave it, they leave it fester, they don't address it, they don't talk, they don't communicate, they don't seek help. And then it does get to a point where infidelity happens, and love it disappears from the relationship altogether, and they are faced with divorce. So today I want to share 3 things that you can do today, right now, if you can sense that things are not well, you're not really wanting or asking for divorce yet, but you're just not feeling good, you're trying to avoid being home so much, you do not spend time together in the same room anymore, like you can see things are starting to shift, and you are ignoring it because you don't know what to do about it. Maybe it's just gonna go away. So 3 tips that I have for you today. Number 1 is, do not project your thoughts, feelings, your opinions about how things should be, ought to be, onto your spouse. If your spouse likes doing things differently from you, thinks differently, or just reacts to things differently, doesn't mean that she doesn't love you, or she is doing these things on purpose to hurt you, for the most part. Know that your spouse was born in a different time, by different parents, has had different experiences growing up, and what shaped her is very different to what shaped you. So knowing that, you know, and thinking of the things that may be bothering you about what she's doing, you know, make an assessment and figure out, is it really worth it having a conversation about it and being upset about it, or is it that she's just different from me? And the number 2, the second thing that I would recommend that you do is, if it actually in fact upsets you, whatever she's doing, it could be as simple as the way that she eats her chips, or the way that she hangs her clothes or does not hang her clothes, or the way that she I don't know, handles things with the kids. If any of these things actually bother you, do not deny that either. Like, if they bother you, they bother you. What I recommend you do differently is change the way that you tell her about that. So it could be that instead of you saying, hey, just stop throwing your clothes on the floor, it bugs me, I hate it when you do that, just stop doing it. You could say it a different way. It could be something like, I have been stressed and overwhelmed and lots of things on my mind, and you and I are working at home and we're always in each other's spaces. I'm trying to declutter my space so I can think better, so I can be more effective. It would mean a lot to me if you were to put your clothes away in the morning. You see how different it is? Just the way that you say things. You're saying the same thing, but it's just the way that you say it makes a huge difference. And lastly, my last tip is, maybe you're gonna try these things. Maybe you're gonna try tip number 1, tip number 2, and they won't work. Maybe there are still problems. Maybe the problems are bigger than you can handle. Maybe a little bit of communication adjustment is not gonna do the trick. So seek help. Seek help before it's too late. Statistics say that people go to a marriage counselors usually 6 months too late. So when people actually get to the tip of the iceberg and they decide, okay, then that's it, we're calling today, let's go see someone because it's just not working, it's usually too late. So the marriage counselor is not able to help most of the couples that go through his or her office. So when you sense things are not working out, you're starting to distance yourself from your spouse, you no longer do things together except for kids' birthdays, special occasions. You'll go out once in a while to a restaurant just because it just it makes things look normal. Seek help then. Maybe you even want to see a mediator. It doesn't have to be a marriage counselor. Maybe you just want, you have a wise parent who can sit with you guys and just have a nice conversation. Those are my tips. I hope they were helpful. I think it's like, if you can see a car accident about to happen and you have the means and the skills to avoid it, you do it as early as you can. And so this is my invitation to you today, is to try to do things to avoid separation, to avoid divorce. And if you are at a point where it's too late, that whatever there is not amendable, nobody can help you, you just gotta go through the separation, and you want to do it the best amicable way possible, then reach out to us. We will book a time for you and I to have a chat, and I will try my best to direct you and lead you and give you a bit of a perspective as to what to do next.